Hey there, we have come to the end of 2021. So a happy new year. I am so thankful for those of you who have watched this year, and what a year it's been, right? It's been a good year. We have learned so many things. I'm going to share 5 things that I've learned in my life and in our business that I hope can impact you in a positive way in 2022. Hey there, I'm Katelyn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a place where we like to empower photographers to build both profitable and purposeful businesses while also letting you in on the behind the scenes of our day-to-day life. In this episode, I'm going to break down 5 things that I think are most beneficial to share with you when I think about this whole year, 2021. What did I learn? Okay, so number 1, it is so important to take a break. Why is it important to take a break? Well, because back in July, I was just done with this business. I was done with the pressure of it. I was done being the face of a business. I really, quite honestly, I was done in almost every aspect. Done being a wedding photographer. I was just done. I mean, I started considering doing crazy things like not working at all, which this Enneagram type 3 person not working at all, like that's just not me. So what was happening? I realized I don't think people can fully see their level of burnout until they take a step back away from the craziness and create some white space for the dust to settle. For then you can realize, oh, this is what's happening to me. And I didn't realize how burned out I was until I took 4 weeks off in August. Now I say 4 weeks off. I mean, I did a filming day, I think once for YouTube. I responded to a few emails. It wasn't completely like isolation, break away from the whole world. But it was a slowing down for the purpose of trying to figure out what was next for me. And what I found was that I had probably been pushing myself at a certain degree for so long that I was just completely naive to what it actually felt like to start leading down the path to burnout. I was pretty far down the path and I didn't even think I was burned out at all. It took my husband, Michael, and our life coach, Julia, to say, I think you need a break. Because I was saying things that just were not like me. They weren't like me at all. And so that break really opened up the door. It changed a lot. Like for me, I went from being done to coming back after the end of a month off with like 4 other business ideas and a new vision. And I can't say that I have everything fleshed out, but I know that I'm not done. I'm not done in this industry. I'm not doing what I love to do. But I'd really kind of lost why I loved it for a little while there. And so taking a break was crucial for me. So how does this apply to you? Well, I would say if you're in a season with anything in your life that you feel like, you just don't even know who you are anymore. Maybe you just feel like all of a sudden, like you were just overcome with anxiety and pressure and overwhelm. If you can, fight for that space. It was not easy for us to take a break, right? I had to do so much work at the end of July to be able to just back away. I had to get other people to fill in for me. I had to get people help with children. I had to do a lot of work in order to take a break, but that break set me up to keep going. So for the people you love, the business that you love, the people you need to provide for, sometimes taking a break is what's necessary in order to keep going for the long haul. So that was number 1. So the second thing I learned, those of you with kids are going to laugh at this, but personally, we learned that 3 children is harder than 2 children. Imagine that. When Graham, our second, technically our third, but when we had Graham, we had just lost a child. And so we were so desperate for a baby that like the transition from 1 to 2 honestly felt like nothing. It was so easy. The transition from 2 to 3 somehow felt like we had been hit by a bus every single evening after bedtime. So we have a 4-year-old, 2-year-old, and an almost 1-year-old. By the time you watch this video, he will be 1. And so anyway, this year has really taught us a lot about what it looks like to pivot. And so what do I mean by that? Well, our life changed, and you may not have kids, right? You may not have kids. You may not have our exact situation, but the flexibility that we have had to learn this year in our marriage, in our work-life balance, in the way that we run our household, the amount of times we buy groceries a week, everything has changed. And so it's really taught us a lot about how to be flexible and how to change with the different seasons of life. So even in the last 2 or 3 months, Rhett, our youngest, he has started walking. He started getting into plants. We've started he ate half an ornament the other day and pooped out glitter. I mean, we've experienced some things, and I'm learning so much about how like every few months as a parent, I've got to remind myself that I am flexible, that I can do this. This is a short season, and I can be present with them and present in a business. And it's hard to sometimes marry the two of those things, but I feel like we have finally found a rhythm of pivoting as our children change and as our business has different needs as well. So the pivot from 2 kids to 3 kids has been a challenge for us personally, but it's also grown us personally and in business. So number 3, I learned this past year, and a little bit into 2020 as well, the power of listening, specifically the power of listening to you guys. And you may be wondering what I mean by that. Well, we have a consultant that we love, and he told us, maybe 2 years ago, he's like, guys, I don't know if you realize this, but when people are Googling Katelyn James, they're not Googling your lighting and location course. They're not Googling KJ All Access. They're Googling Katelyn James presets. And we're like, presets. We don't like presets. We're not going to do presets. I don't even use presets. But then I started paying attention to maybe I should listen to that. Instead of just blowing that off as nothing, why is that the number one Googled result? Like, why are people searching for that from me? And so what could I contribute to the industry that would be different, that would be beneficial, and that would help all these people who are searching for a resource? So I started listening to that demand instead of just brushing it off, and we created by far the most successful product of my entire career. And I thought it was going to be nothing. I thought it was going to be this little thing, no big deal. Here, a few people might like it. 5,000 people are using this product to edit their work, to maintain consistency, to get skin tones they've always dreamed of. And we're thrilled. We're thrilled because I use it every day when I'm editing, and thrilled that so many other people are using it. So I learned it is beneficial to listen to your audience, to listen to what people are saying to you. And so we're going to try to practice that even more in 2021. And I encourage you, anybody with an audience, with clientele, with a group of people who are trusting you with a service, listen to them and love them because you're listening to them. That's a way of serving your clients and serving your tribe and your people. Number 4, I relearned recently, this has been very recent, in the last 2 months, relearned the power of outsourcing. Now you're probably saying, Katelyn, I've heard you say this so many times. Like, you need to outsource. You got to spend money to make money. But every few years, it's like I rediscover it in a new way. So I would say back in September, Michael, we were at a team meeting, and Michael was like, I just think we need to hire someone else. And my sister and I were like, no, gosh, no, we don't need to hire anybody else. We're fine. But Michael, we do this kind of personality skills test thing. And anyway, it talks about what voice you bring to your work and to your home. Michael's voice is like a voice of a pioneer. So what does that mean? Michael is just good at seeing big picture and seeing needs that are forecasted and not necessarily focusing on what's right in front of him. So as the pioneer of the group, he was like, I just think we need to hire someone else. And Emily and I are like, no, we're great. Well, we decided to hire someone else. And let me tell you, it was mainly, not even for me, because I have help with some of the things that I shouldn't be doing. It was for my sister. My sister used to spend hours and hours just managing our inbox with the help of my sister-in-law. And I just realized, and we all realized, what if we could actually take the half of the work that my sister is doing, because she has so many other skills that contribute to our business in huge ways. What if we took that workload and gave it to someone else, and my sister-in-law could train that person, and then my sister-in-law could take my sister's role. We did that. It took about a week of transition, a lot of Loom videos, a lot of training. But in the last month, my sister has been able to go to bed earlier, have more time with her family and her husband post-bedtime, and has been able to do projects and work on things that only she can do that we've been putting off for over a year because she just couldn't get away from the day-to-day grind of work. Now, this is the same example that I give to photographers all the time. If you only have time to edit, upload galleries, shoot, answer emails, edit, upload galleries, shoot, answer emails, if that is your cycle, you're going to stay right where you are for a very long time until you're burned out and you shut down the doors to your business. But if you want to scale and you want to grow and you want to add new parts to your business, you want to do marketing strategies to be able to increase your prices, you've got to have bandwidth to be able to do it. You got to have help. And so you have to take the risk of spending money in order to make money. I actually put this on Insta stories recently, and someone said to me will you please tell my husband this? He runs a completely different business and he just will not trust anyone else. That's not a problem about outsourcing. That's a deeper rooted issue of scarcity mentality. If in your mind you think, oh, I can't give up a couple $100 here, or oh, I can't create a new position, like, no, that's too scary. That's fine, but you're going to stay right where you are. The secret to growing a business is allowing yourself to have the bandwidth to grow, scale, dream, and you can't do that if you're the only one running the back end. So I learned that. Number 5, my dad is retiring at the end of this year. We actually, by the time you watch this video, we'll be getting ready to have the celebration of 32 years serving as a pastor of a small country church. Same church, 32 years, over 3 decades serving this community. They moved to the town when I was 18 months old. Young. They were young. They were younger than me. My mom and dad were like 27 and 28 years old. And they took a call. They took a job at this church. And my dad has served this community for 3 decades of his life, 3 decades of my whole life. And he feels like it's time to move on. And I'm proud of him for moving on. But recently I went up to our hometown and I had different people stop by the church and film just some impact videos. And this is fascinating. I interviewed 12 people, and almost every single person, with the exception of 3 people maybe, when I asked them, what's something you've learned from my dad? This is what this is not what I thought they would say. They said, you know what I remember a lot about your dad? He always mopped the floors. And I'm like, it's fascinating, right? He is a pastor. He's the spiritual leader of this group of people. He's the leader that people go to. He's the guy that's like shepherding over all these people. And yet everyone that I'm talking to is talking about how the way he served, he was the one mopping the floors after events. He was the one who was serving in a capacity that most people would not even volunteer for because it's gross and it's dirty. But I've learned, if I've learned anything from him, it's that if you want to be a great leader, you're a servant leader, and servant leaders are the ones that make the most impact. Because servant leaders, it's not about the role, it's not about remembering them, it's not about the authority or the power. It's literally about the people. And so I love that. I don't know if my dad is necessarily thought that his legacy would be that people remember that he scrubbed the floors, but it's not about scrubbing the floors at the church. The impact is that he was a servant leader, and that it shows where his heart was, that he served in that way. So as a leader in this industry, and as a leader even in my own home, like I just want to lead like that. I don't want to lead because I want power and I want fame and I want subscribers and I want money, and I want to lead from a place of serving, because I think ultimately people wept in these videos. Just sobbing because this man is retiring. I think he made such an impact because he served people from a place of loving them and not from a place of wanting to have authority. So I am taking that legacy of my dad, and there's so much more, but I'm taking that, even just one snippet of what I've learned about him in the last few months, and applying it to my own life. Like, how can I lead with integrity and vulnerability? How can I be humble? And how can I lead with a servant-hearted mind? So, that's my 2021 takeaway. I feel like this year has been so good for us. It's been challenging for us. But it's been an honor to serve you, to educate, and to inspire you. And I cannot wait to see what 2022 holds. So thanks for tuning in. Thank you for a really great year, and like and subscribe so we can stay in touch in the new year. Thank y'all for tuning in. I will see you next year. Bye.
Also, happy birthday, KK.
It's my birthday. I'm 23.
23.
I'm 34.